There's something about the outdoors, something people don't like to admit. We romanticize it. The silence, the stars, the way the world feels untouched. But silence isn't empty. It listens, and sometimes it listens back. Have you ever been camping far from everything and suddenly felt like you weren't alone anymore? Not animals, not other campers, something else, something watching but never quite seen. Tonight I'm going to tell you 6 stories, real experiences, confessions, the kind people hesitate to share out loud. And as you listen, I want you to ask yourself something. If you heard footsteps outside your tent, but they didn't match any human rhythm, would you look, or would you pretend you didn't hear it? Let's begin. I wasn't supposed to go on that trip. That's probably the part that bothers me the most. It wasn't planned, not properly anyway. My friend Darren had called me late Friday night, like past midnight, and asked if I wanted to go camping. No build-up, no details, just, hey, you want to get out of the city for a couple days? Now, Darren wasn't the spontaneous type. He planned everything down to the hour, so that alone should have tipped me off something was off. But I said yes. Let me ask you something. Have you ever agreed to something, even when a part of you felt uneasy about it? Like your body knew something your brain hadn't caught up to yet? That's exactly what this was. We drove out early Saturday morning, somewhere deep into a forest area I'd never heard of before. No official campsite, no signs, just a dirt road Darren said he found online, which, looking back, I never actually saw. The deeper we drove, the quieter everything got. No birds, no insects, nothing. Just the sound of tires on gravel and this growing pressure in my chest I couldn't explain. I asked him, "Are you sure people camp here?" He hesitated, just for a second, then said, "Yeah, I've seen pictures. Seen pictures. Not been here, not camped here, just seen pictures." We set up near a clearing just before sunset. It should have been beautiful. Tall trees, wide open sky, a small stream running nearby. But it didn't feel right. You ever walk into a place and feel like you're interrupting something? Like the space doesn't want you there? That's how it felt. Night came fast, faster than it should have. And once it did, it was dark, not normal darkness. This was thick, heavy, like the light didn't just fade, it was swallowed. We sat by the fire for a while, barely talking. That's when we heard it. A whistle, soft, distant, just one note. At first I thought it was a bird, but Darren froze. And I mean completely froze. He looked at me and whispered, "Did you hear that?" I nodded, and then it happened again. Same pitch, same length, but closer. Now here's the thing, it wasn't random. It sounded deliberate, like someone trying to get our attention. Have you ever heard a sound that felt intentional, but you couldn't prove it? I stood up trying to locate where it was coming from. And that's when Darren grabbed my arm. "Hard, don't," he said. "Don't answer it." Answer it? That word stuck with me, because I hadn't even considered responding. But now, the idea was planted. The third whistle came from behind us. Impossible. There was nothing there but trees, dense ones, too thick for someone to move through quietly. And yet, it was right there. I said, "Hello?" Before I even realized I was speaking. Darren's grip tightened. "You don't do that," he said, his voice shaking now. "You don't respond." Silence, for maybe 10 seconds. Then, a whistle. Exactly like the first one, but this time, it changed at the end. It bent into something almost like a voice. "Eli, that's my name. I hadn't told anyone we were here. There was no one around. And Darren was staring at me like he'd just seen something behind me. "Don't turn around," he whispered. "And now I'm asking you, if someone told you that, would you listen, or would curiosity win?" Because I turned, slowly, and I saw nothing. Just trees. But they felt closer now, leaning in, watching. When I turned back to Darren, he was gone. No footsteps, no sound, just gone. I called his name, once, twice, nothing. The forest swallowed my voice like it didn't exist. Then I heard it again, right next to my ear, a whisper. Not a whistle anymore, clear, breathing, alive. "Eli," and that's when I realized something I wish I hadn't. It wasn't calling me, it was practicing. I ran. Didn't grab anything, didn't think, just ran. Branches cutting my arms, roots catching my feet. I didn't care. I just needed distance. But no matter how far I went, I kept hearing it, sometimes ahead, sometimes behind, sometimes right beside me. Eli, Eli, Eli. Always slightly wrong, like it was learning how to say it properly. Eventually, I made it back to the road. I don't even remember how. I just remember collapsing next to my car. And when I looked back, the forest was completely silent, like nothing had ever happened. Darren was never found. No trace, no missing person report ever went anywhere. It was like he'd never existed. But here's the part that still messes with me. Months later, I was home, alone, trying to sleep, and just as I started drifting off, I heard it, faint, from outside my window, a whistle, same pitch, same rhythm, and then a voice, closer than it should have been, perfect this time, Eli. So let me ask you, if something out there learns your voice, learns your name, learns how to sound human, how long before it learns how to be you? We're not done, not even close. This happened 3 years ago. I still have the footage. I just don't watch it anymore. Have you ever recorded something, a normal moment, and only later realized there was something in it that shouldn't have been there? It was supposed to be a chill weekend trip. 4 of us, me, Josh, Aaron, and Malik. We drove out to a woodland area in northern England. Not an official campsite, just one of those locals know about it places. Wide open clearing, trees packed tight around the edges, and an old walking trail that cut through deeper into the woods. We weren't there for anything serious. Just drinks, stories, maybe filming some dumb videos for fun. Josh had just gotten a new phone, one of those high-end ones with insane night video quality. He kept saying, "Bro, this thing can pick up everything in the dark." Funny how that sentence aged. That first night was normal, too normal. Fire going, music low, laughing about nonsense. At some point, Josh starts recording. Just casual stuff, us talking, roasting each other, panning the camera around the campsite. At one point, he turns and films toward the trees. Pitch black beyond the firelight. You can't see anything, just darkness. Imagine something just standing there watching us, Aaron joked. And Malik threw a stick into the dark like an idiot. We laughed, because that's what you do, right? You laugh when something feels uncomfortable. The next day was uneventful. Hiking, cooking, messing around, no weird sounds, no strange sightings, nothing. Which is why what happened that night makes even less sense. We decided to rewatch the footage, just for fun. Relive the jokes, maybe post a clip or two. Josh hooks his phone up and we sit around the fire again replaying last night. Everything looked normal, until that moment. The part where he filmed the trees. At first it looked the same, dark, empty, but then Malik said, "Pause that." We leaned in, and there it was, a shape standing between the trees. Far back, almost blending in, too tall, too still. You ever see something and your brain refuses to process it at first, like it doesn't fit into reality? That wasn't there, I said immediately. Josh nodded. I would have seen that, but the video didn't glitch, didn't distort, it was stable, clear, and whatever that thing was, it was facing us. Aaron laughed it off. It's probably just a tree, man. So Josh zoomed in, and the shape shifted, not like a person moving. Not like stepping or turning, more like it adjusted, like it realized it was being looked at. We all went quiet. "Play it," Malik said. Josh pressed play. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then, very slowly, that thing leaned forward, not walking, not stepping, just bending toward the camera, like it was trying to get a better look at us. And then, the video cut, just ended. No transition, no battery warning, nothing. We checked the file. That was the end. "Maybe it's corrupted," Josh said, but his voice wasn't convincing anymore. "Let me ask you something. If you saw something like that, something you know wasn't there at the time, would you stay?" Because we didn't. Not after what happened next. We sat there trying to rationalize it, talking over each other, throwing out explanations, none of them sticking. And then, from the trees, we heard movement. Not subtle, not distant, heavy, deliberate, something walking from the exact direction of that thing in the video. We all turned at the same time, flashlights up, nothing. But the sound didn't stop. It circled, slow, measured, crunch, pause, crunch, like it was pacing us, matching our position. And then, Josh's phone buzzed. He looked down, frowned for its recording, he said. "What?" I asked. I didn't press anything. The camera app was open, recording, facing the trees. No one touched it. "Stop it," Malik said. Josh tried. The screen froze, and then we heard it from the phone speaker. A sound, breathing, Not ours. Slow, wet, too close, like whoever or whatever was out there was standing right in front of the phone. But when we looked up, the trees were empty. Then a voice, distorted, layered, like multiple tones trying to speak at once. You see me. Josh dropped the phone. The recording stopped instantly. Silence. No footsteps, no breathing, nothing. We packed up in less than 5 minutes, didn't even put the fire out properly. Just left. No one spoke during the drive back. A week later, Josh sent us the video file again. Said watch the end. I didn't want to, but I did, because I needed to know. The part we saw was still there, the shape, the movement, everything. But now, there was more. After the original cut, the video continued. Same angle, same trees, except now it wasn't empty. That thing was closer, much closer, and this time you could see its face, or what should have been a face. And it was smiling, too wide, too still, and then it spoke. Clear, perfect. Using my voice, why did you leave me out here? So I need you to think about this. Really think. If something can appear in your recordings after the fact, if it can learn your voice, and if it can get closer without you ever seeing it move, how do you know it isn't already closer than you think? We're still not done. So before you turn this off, before the room goes quiet again, I want you to sit with something for a moment. Tonight, you heard 6 stories. Different people, different places, different experiences, but the details didn't change. The whistle, the voice that isn't quite right, the thing that watches before it moves, the feeling that something followed you instead of staying where it belongs. That's not coincidence, that's a pattern. And patterns mean intent. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been somewhere quiet and felt like the silence was waiting? Not empty, not peaceful, waiting. Because that's where it starts. Not with fear, not with danger, just attention. Something noticing you. And once it does, it doesn't forget. So if you ever find yourself out there, in the woods in a place where the sounds suddenly stop and you hear a whistle, don't answer it. If something calls your name and you're absolutely sure no one's there, don't turn around. And if you ever feel like you're not alone, even when you know you should be, trust that feeling. Because ignoring it might be the moment it needs. Next time, we go further. Not just into the forest, but into what comes back with you. And what happens when it doesn't just watch anymore, it learns. Sleep carefully tonight.
You've been listening to Mr. Haunting Whispers, where every truth leaves a scar. If the story unsettled you, good. That means you were listening. Subscribe and stay close to the dark, because the next whisper might be for you.